Castlevania has a long and storied history in gaming culture, merging eerie gothic locales with rigorous, tightly structured challenge. So early on, too, leading to a sensational series and lots of lengthy talks over which one's the best one. Could it be Symphony of the Night's sprawling scope? Or Super Castlevania IV's cracking controls? They're all high contenders, but none of them whip me as hard as Castlevania Bloodlines. No, excuse me, Vampire Killer. Bloody brilliant title. You're plodding around your local geek store, checking out the games, when you find this and see a ravenous bat gazing you with blood-soaked eyes. You either turn away or get intrigued at what other horror lurks within. Then you venture forth, and it lives up within moments. A fellow voyager fed to the crows, guts spilled and all. This ain't a Mario, and you damn well know it. It's one of the greatest titles for a game conceived, and I curse its loss in localization. But enough scoff! Have at you, game! Oh yeah! It's just as badass as it ever was. Perhaps because they were relieved from Nintendo censorship, or were willing to take more risks on less popular systems, Vampire Killer's one gory, hauntingly detailed game. It retains everything the series is known for. Epic European backdrops with meticulous attention to the smallest details. Except it's not confined to a castle. There's a castle, of course, but this time, Drax's chums are scattered all throughout Europe, making this a bolder, more diverse quest than games before. It immediately jumps out compared to Super Castlevania IV's patterns of brown and moldy greens. I'm not discrediting Castlevania IV. The Mode 7 chip created some of the most memorable rooms in Dracula's castle, but going beyond the castle, let Konami cook with fresh scenes. The Round the World Tour draws many beautiful, locally sourced landscapes, like the ruins of Greece, Versailles Palace, and German munition centers, all over the course of World War I. To this day, the Battle for Paris is one of my favorite Castlevania stages. You're rushing up the Leaning Tower while a 10-foot tall bat and its cohorts tip it in an all-out assault. It exhumes limitless graphical prowess and spotlights the hero's special moves, raising awareness through use. The best voiceless teacher there is. Then, when you think it's over, the bat puts your newfound skills to the test as you're frantically jumping up and down to avoid falling off the top of the world. Every trait of this level, from graphics to player engagement, culminates in one of the most memorable levels in Megadrive history, right up there with Gunstar Heroes' best. Even though that's my favorite stage, the rest of the game doesn't let up. Everything after remains aspiring. Konami continued to find new ways to dazzle and challenge you. From the Hall of Mirrors that splits part of the screen up, to a boss that shifts junk around to make its bulk, there's something cool to see everywhere. All these obstacles mix it up without being unfair, all the while going out of their way to make you look as cool as possible. Of course, describing the scenes don't do them justice. Being dumbstruck by a bug lady suddenly growing 5 times larger is a feeling in and of itself. Spoiling everything would be a great injustice, and I'd strongly suggest playing yourself to see what else lies in wait, including one of the coolest final bosses of all time. It's more than enough to prove the presentation's pristine. Now, what about the gameplay? The basics are what you'd expect. The Castlevania formula's like clockwork. a proven success. You fight through 6 excellent stages, armed with a short-range weapon, long-range tools, and your quick feet for long jumps. Only this time, you've got more than one man to choose from. Johnny Morris, the more powerful, less nimble American, and Eric Licard, the acrobatic, spear-swinging Spaniard. But unlike Castlevania 3, these aren't glorified upgrades. Johnny and Eric possess their own strengths, weaknesses, unique moves, and even whole stages, fit for each. I'll break down Johnny first, since he's the first choice offered, and the one most people pick. Johnny, wielding the whip, is the traditionalist, and has to overcome chasms the old-fashioned way, with apt precision. But this old dog has a few new tricks inspired by Simon. The tip of the whip can catch ceilings, letting you swing side or skyward. Before, it was cool to cross a pit or two, nothing else. But now you can swing anywhere, letting you skip slow stairs with skill or just plain show off. Look at how cool I am! However, the one thing he doesn't have is 8-way aim. It's a point of contention for some. But I defend the design. It's as deliberate as the rest of the game. In this case, giving John traits that set him apart more from Eric. The single, bigger candles drop the same tools every time, and they're always right where you need them. Gee, it's like they have a purpose. Remember the strength of purpose. More details later. Now, we'll see Mr. Licard, who bucks tradition with the beauty and grace of an acrobat. Jumps are nothing for those limber legs. This specialty super jump storms the skies with ease, letting you skip parts of the game and dodge incoming attacks while you ascend. He can also aim 5 ways at all times, leaving him better off against swarms, but the ease has an expense, notably less damage. It checks out. He's not as jacked as John is. There is a new move both men can use though, and that's the almighty Super Crash. Should you get a 4th weapon buff, you can wield the power of God and nuke the uncouth with righteous might, as long as you're unhurt. It's the best reward for perfection. Tangent contained, these two may share most of the game, but it's impressive how much feels new with a fresh set of skills. Making a good game around one character's hard, let alone 2, and still managing to make them feel unique. And if that's not enough for you, they get their own paths in Stage 3 and 5. Tailor-made scenes to show the best these boys can do. It's well worth replaying the game to see the latter 30% of the game missed the first time around. Which concludes the coverage. So, if the game's as good as I say it is, how come a few people don't like it? They didn't want to be challenged.
Moving on, oh shit, anti-gravity platforming in my Castlevania? Ugh, I hate shit like this. I hate it in Sonic, and I especially hate it here.
Super Castlevania 4 is a very different kind of game. It's focused on making you feel unstoppably badass rather than earning the satisfaction of victory. You can undo bad jumps without thought. When you're locked in, like this game, you have to think ahead a little, making the jump more perilous. And before you say limits are bad, they're only bad if you can't win. You are given more than enough goods to pass any sector. And if that's not enough, you can farm most of the checkpoints if you're desperate. It's like comparing apples to oranges. There's 2 completely different designs per game. Vampire Killer is a super tight, super polished challenge platformer where every move, bat, and tool have their purpose served well. And if you don't want that, that's alright. That's what Castlevania 4 is for. It's great for completely different reasons. But I want to be challenged. Losing a little control is nothing compared to everything Bloodlines adds to Castlevania. It influenced the rest of Castlevania thereafter, and without it and Rondo and Blood, I don't think Symphony of the Night would have been as good as it was. The setting's beautiful, the controls feel great, and it's exciting to win. That is why I believe Vampire Killer is the best Castlevania game. No match. Vampire Killer for Megadrive gets an S. If you want to play too, there's the Castlevania Anniversary Collection, which occasionally goes for $4 US or your region's equivalent. $4 for this masterwork, and Super Castlevania 4. It's a steal if I ever saw one. Get it without question. The PC port I played's not too shabby. It runs like a charm, I just wish you could remap keyboard controls. You'll have to use Joy to Key for that. Otherwise, I can't complain.